Hello guys, as usual, stay home, stay safe, and do Excel chemistry. Alright, so today we were discussing about the compounds of group 2 elements, and we shall talk about magnesium. In the last class, we spoke about the cement and compounds of barium, and today, magnesium and its compounds. So you all know, like magnesium's the various mineral sources. Very beginning class I have told, like there are many sources like magnesite, dolomite, epsom salt, carnallite, asbestos. Okay, so those are the various mineral sources. So I'm straight away coming to the extraction. How do you extract these metal? Okay, I think when I say about extract, someone asked me a doubt that day. I don't know whether it is Surya or Chaitanya. Extraction for the second group elements, we don't perform the direct reduction, or we cannot do, because these metals are very strong reducing agents. Strong reducing agents. These metals, in the sense, both first group and second group. So direct reduction is not possible. Okay, I cannot use a simple reducing element like carbon or hydrides. I cannot use them to get magnesium from their respective minerals. Magnesium carbonate, magnesium sulfate, I cannot use the simple reducing agent. So why? Because they themselves are strong reducing agents, so someone else cannot make them to be reduced. So what is alternative? What best I can do is, I can change this mineral, I can convert this mineral into some compound. Okay, some salt or some compound. Their electrolysis reduction will give me magnesium. Okay, so that's the point. So now, so minerals, we have discussed like MgCO3, magnesium carbonate, and in terms of Epsom salt, MgSO4.7H2O, carnallite, KCl, MgCl2.6H2O. So those were the, so from them we can extract by electrolysis. Electrolysis of, I said, we make some compounds. Like what are those compounds? Is electrolysis of fused oxide, magnesium oxide. Okay, and there is also another one, that is electrolysis of fused anhydrous magnesium chloride. So straight away from magnesium carbonate, magnesium sulfate, I cannot reduce, but I convert them into these forms, and then I will perform the electrolysis to get my magnesium. Okay, now how do I get the magnesium oxide? So we know, like from magnesite, for example, magnesite formula, magnesium carbonate. So on strong heating of magnesium carbonate, I get magnesium oxide plus carbon dioxide. This magnesium oxide which I have got is now electrolyzed. It is also called as what? Magnesia. Okay, this on electrolysis around 600 degrees Celsius, 600 to 650, we get the molten magnesium. So this is what our extraction is. So by the electrolysis of magnesium oxide, I can get this. Fine. Say, instead of doing electrolysis, there is also another method that I can inculcate, that is the thermal reduction. Thermal reduction, that is, the various thermal reductions are, I can use this when reacted with magnesium oxide on treating with carbon. This forms magnesium plus carbon monoxide. And magnesium oxide, if I treat with sulfur, not sulfur, silicon, magnesium plus SiO2. I can also use magnesium oxide treat with aluminium, that also will serve me. magnesium and oxide, what is Al2O3. And very important one, this is magnesium oxide and treated with calcium carbide. We have seen it already. What does it form? Magnesium plus calcium oxide plus carbon monoxide. Fine. So on a whole, I can use the thermal decomposition, or not thermal reduction of by carbon, silicon, aluminum and calcium carbide. In fact, even this reaction is also not so easy. All these reactions, they have to be performed at very high temperature. That's why thermal, in fact the temperature is somewhere around 2000 degrees Celsius. Very high temperature, very high temperature. Only around 2000 degrees Celsius we will see that this oxide is coming out from magnesium. Okay, so this is one of the methods of extracting magnesium from their respective magnesium oxides. And I can also make from, as said, from anhydrous MgCl2, right? So I will use what? From carnallite. We know like carnallite. Yeah, this one more interesting point is this. From carnallite also, what is carnallite, by the way? KCl MgCl2 dot 6H2O. Now this is my carnallite, and I have to electrolyze what? Anhydrous MgCl2. So anhydrous means I don't want the water molecules. So to remove the water molecules, just heating will not help me. Why it will not help me is, this carnallite, when I heat, max to max 3 water molecules can be evaporated, or 4 water molecules max to max, not beyond that. 4 water molecules can be removed off, but the remaining water molecules gets involved in the chemical reaction with magnesium chloride. Okay, so on heating just will not vaporize the water of crystallization. Okay, I mean, for example, if I heat this KCl MgCl2 dot 6H2O, on heating it will not give me MgCl2 straight away. Okay, what exactly the reaction happen is, if I want to get rid of these water molecules, when I heat to initially when I heat it, it will first convert into 2H2O. Now after this 2H2O, when I heat this to get rid of these water molecules, I will find the formation of oxygen, that is the oxygen get involved with the chemical reaction, and it forms oxychlorides. Magnesium oxychloride is formed. And if I further heat this, instead of getting magnesium chloride, I get magnesium oxide, which is my magnesia. So my purpose of heating is not serving me to get magnesium chloride, but rather it is converting into magnesia, that is magnesium oxide. Okay, so if you wanted to do it again from magnesium oxide, I can perform any of these methods and get the magnesium. Okay, but if I strictly wanted it to be from magnesium chloride only, then what do? Alternative way is this: I just use, or I heat it in the presence of hydrochloric gas. What does this HCl gas does? HCl gas does, will see that the hydrogen is taking the oxygen from here, and the chlorine gets involved in bonding with the magnesium rather than oxygen. Okay, such that instead of forming Mg2OCl2, it forms MgCl2. Okay, on a whole, bottom line is this: magnesium chloride, on treating with the hydrochloric acid in the gaseous form, in the vapor form, on heating it, I will get my desired product. MgCl2 plus 6 water molecules can be easily lost. Acid's nature is to pluck out the water also. So we can see like this is my anhydrous form. Okay, and suppose if I wanted from magnesium oxide also, then there is also one more way, that is MgO plus treat it with coke in the presence of chlorine gas. That also will give me magnesium chloride plus carbon monoxide. Okay, so either from carnallite, if I wanted to get, I can perform all this and this, or straight away with this I'll get my anhydrous 6H2 water molecules coming out. On a whole, from carnallite, this is what the steps. Now if I can also prepare, that is from seawater. Seawater when treated with calcium hydroxide, CaOH twice. In fact, what is seawater containing? Seawater contains majorly of magnesium chloride or magnesium sulfate. Okay, so magnesium chloride or magnesium sulfate when treated with calcium hydroxide will form magnesium hydroxide first, which is a precipitate, we know it. Now this precipitate is then treated with hydrochloric acid. On treating with hydrochloric acid will give me MgCl2 dot 6H2O. Why 6H2O? Because water molecules are still there, and from here, that is from here, if I wanted to get the anhydrous form, I have already told like what is the process to be done. This is the process to be done. Okay, so from seawater also we can extract the magnesium chloride, or we can make the magnesium anhydrous magnesium chloride. Okay, why? How? Seawater treated with calcium hydroxide will give me the precipitate, and that precipitate when treated with hydrochloric acid in the liquid form will form magnesium chloride and hydrated form, and that hydrated form of magnesium chloride on treating with HCl gas in vapors, hydrochloric acid, here we use the liquid form, here we use the vapors form, then will form me MgCl2 plus 6H2O. Clear? On a whole, bottom line is we have our magnesium chloride, which is our anhydrous magnesium chloride. Now electrolysis. So electrolysis of anhydrous magnesium chloride. As simple, the points to be noted are that is magnesium chloride is fused with NaCl and CaCl2. Reason why fusion of NaCl and CaCl2? I know that you know, and in fact the compositions are important. Magnesium is like 35% of magnesium chloride. We have to fuse it with 50% of NaCl and 15% of calcium chloride. So this fusion, after fusing this mixture is then electrolyzed. Mixture is electrolyzed by maintaining the temperature around 700 degrees Celsius, 700 750. Okay, so we know that at this, when I perform electrolysis, what happens? MgCl2 breaks down as Mg plus 2 plus 2Cl minus. So as usual, same old story. What happens at anode, what happens at cathode, and who is acting as anode? Basically graphite rod, and ion tank itself acts as the cathode. So at anode, what happens? Which ions will come? Anode is positively charged, so Cl minus. So 2Cl minus will give out 2 electrons, forming the chlorine gas liberated at anode, 2 electrons, and then magnesium Mg plus 2 will grab those 2 electrons and becomes our magnesium. Okay, molten form. And this one, generally important point, magnesium is lighter in weight, in mass or weight, and hence floats on the surface of electrolyte. So this was my electrolyte, and in the reactive, in the electrolytic tank, the magnesium will be floating on the top. Okay, so which can be easily removed by using some paddles and all, so we can easily remove. So the advantage is this, because magnesium is lighter, it automatically rises to the top and we can easily get rid of that. Okay, so easy to remove. On a whole, this is how we can extract our magnesium metal. And properties. Physical properties first, it is silvery white solid, then it is slightly hard metal, slightly hard but light. advantage. It is light but very hard. Because of this reason only it is used in making uh, aircrafts and all. So it is also, being a metal, it is malleable, ductile, and good conductor of heat and electricity. We know this point. And its melting point is around 650 degrees Celsius. Okay, so these are some physical properties that you must be knowing. Then talking about chemical properties. Chemical properties. First, reaction with air. Okay, when I say about air, as already we have said, like what is the main composition of air? Nitrogen and oxygen. So point is, with dry air it does not show any reaction. With dry air, magnesium does not show any reaction. But with moist air, the reaction is as follows. It shows reaction, and it is Mg plus O2 gives, we all know this, magnesium oxide. And with nitrogen it forms magnesium nitrate, Mg3N2. Moreover, what is this? It is moist air. Okay, then let me write all the things in one go to the maximum. With acids, before acids let me take water. With water, so magnesium, on treating with water, it forms magnesium hydroxide, liberating H2 gas. You have seen it already. And very important point, what is that? Can magnesium react with cold water? No, it reacts with only hot or warm water, boiling water. Okay, so do remember this point. Then with mineral acids, as usual, it displaces, magnesium displaces dash from dilute acids. Fill the blank. I think you should have filled it. If you have not filled, I think you will definitely fill it. If I give an example, for example, HCl, magnesium plus acid HCl will give me what? Magnesium chloride plus dash hydrogen gas. So that's what I'm asking. It displaces what? Hydrogen. Same I can also do with respect to magnesium plus sulfuric acid. It forms magnesium sulfate plus H2 gas. Okay, and with nitric acid also, HNO3, magnesium nitrate plus H2 gas. Okay, so that's what with acids. It's very simple, nothing big thing. But with this generally is with dilute acids. This is the important point with acids. That is, with concentrated acids it is different. What happens with concentrated acids, like concentrated sulfuric acid? If I take, see, already with sulfuric acid, magnesium plus sulfuric acid is MgSO plus H2. If I use concentrated sulfuric acid, this hydrogen gas is further oxidized to water. Okay, within the presence of concentrated media, it cannot release the hydrogen as gaseous form, but it will automatically, concentrated will automatically convert or oxidize this H2 into water, and itself will form sulfur dioxide as well. For example, what I wanted to say is Mg plus H2SO4 hot and concentrated will give, no doubt, magnesium sulfate plus, instead of H2 it forms water plus sulfur dioxide. Okay, same if I use magnesium plus nitric acid HNO3 hot and concentrated, then it forms magnesium nitrate as usual twice plus instead of hydrogen, water, plus just like sulfur dioxide, we have nitrogen dioxide. Okay, so on a whole, point to be noted is what, with dilute acids, this is what, with concentrated, hot and concentrated, this is the products. Okay, salts remains the same, but hydrogen gas, instead of hydrogen gas we also get water plus the sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide respectively. So that's what about the concentrated. Then with halogens, with halogens, so very simple, Mg plus any halogen when you treat on simple heating will form magnesium halide. Okay, where X can be, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, all of them do react. Then reaction with acids we have seen, we have to talk about its reducing nature, reduction property. See, magnesium acts as a strong reducing agent, which we have seen very beginning itself, I have told it like, and because of its strong reducing agent, it has great affinity towards oxygen. Okay, so it tries to pull oxygen from the compounds that are containing oxygen. So is strong reducing agent, so there is a greater affinity towards oxygen is high. Implies Mg plus let me say for example KClO3, it oxidizes both. Mg can not oxidize, reduce both metals as well as non-metals. Okay, so let me give for example metal. So Mg plus KClO3, it forms magnesium chloride, KClO3, so magnesium oxide plus KCl. And with respect to non-metals, if I say for example carbon dioxide, it forms magnesium oxide plus carbon. Sulfur dioxide, MgO plus sulfur. Mg plus nitrogen dioxide, if I say, not dioxide, nitrogen monoxide, so it forms MgO. And here is important one, apart from nitrogen liberating, it forms Mg3N2, that is magnesium nitrate is formed. So pay attention on this reaction. Okay, in the other case it is carbon and sulfur, the elemental forms are released, but nitrogen not in the elemental form, it forms magnesium nitride. Okay, so on a whole, our point is not about what product, our point is about whether it is behaving as a reducing agent or not. Yes, it's a strong reducing agent and it is pulling out the oxygen from all of them, forming respective magnesium oxides. Alright, so this is what about reduction property. Now it is also used in making, we have talked about in Grignard reagent. What is Grignard reagent? Very much important. Magnesium on treating with alkyl halides will form in the presence of ether medium, will form RMgX. This is our Grignard reagent, a very important reagent in our organic chemistry. I told this already. Okay, so it is used in making Grignard reagent, and it can also displace displacement reaction. If I talk about what do we know displacement? We know that in 9th class or 8th class we should have studied this. What is that? More reactive element, more reactive metal will displace least reactive metal from its salt. So whether magnesium is following that or not, let's see. Mg plus silver nitrate, if I talk AgNO3, magnesium is more reactive, so magnesium nitrite nitrate plus silver. So it can also perform the displacement reactions. So how can I know like whether it is displacing AgNO3 or not? Again, you have to see the reactivity series. Fine. And lastly, it dissolves FeCl3 and ammonium chloride solutions. In this solution, magnesium dissolves in both. Magnesium dissolves in the solutions of FeCl3, and it also dissolves in magnesium, that is ammonium chloride solution. That is, if I write it in reaction now, plus FeCl3 solution will form magnesium chloride plus FeOH thrice plus hydrogen gas. With, suppose if I talk about ammonium chloride solution, when treated with NH4Cl, itself is acting as a medium of both, that is solvent as well as solution. So it just dissolves as MgCl2 plus ammonia plus H2 gas. So common thing is magnesium chloride and hydrogen gas. The difference is it forms ferric hydroxide and this forms ammonia. So just make a note of that. Fine. So on a whole, magnesium dissolves in both the solutions. So that's all about the properties and uses. Making some space here itself. Uses. Number one, it is used in aluminothermit process. Aluminothermit process. If you remember in 8th standard, you should have studied this for welding rail tracks and all. Anyways, the end of next chapter we will have a study on this. Anyways, magnesium is used in the aluminothermit process. We mix it with aluminium. We'll see that. Then it is also used for making or magnesium powder when mixed with potassium chlorate is used in flashlights for photography. The old photographies and all in the flashlights we use this mixture of magnesium powder and potassium chlorides. And it is also used for extracting boron and silicon. Then it is also used for making alloys. Now here alloys, you must know that basically three main alloys, that is magnesium, which is a mixture of aluminum and magnesium. Okay. Then there is another one, that is electron metal, which is a mixture of magnesium, zinc and I think copper. There is also one more, that is one more. What's that? Duralumin, which is a mixture of aluminium, magnesium, manganese and copper. Okay, so these are the various compositions of the alloys: magnesia or magnesium, aluminum, magnesium, and electron metal, magnesium, zinc and copper. Duralumin is of aluminum, magnesium, manganese and copper. So on a whole, we can prepare the alloys adds more strength than the respective metals. Fine. So with this, the magnesium, the properties and intro of magnesium is done. Now let's talk about its compounds. The first compound, that is magnesia. Compounds of magnesium. We have, I think, nearly 5 compounds. So first we'll talk about one today. Magnesia, that is magnesium oxide, MgO. Preparations, straight away preparations and properties. We all know Mg plus O2 gives, just now we have seen in the dry air no reaction, moist air we have the reaction, that is MgO. And magnesium hydroxide when heated will give me magnesium oxide plus water. This is a reverse reaction. Magnesium oxide on hydrolysis will form magnesium hydroxide, so it's a reversible reaction. But on a whole we can prepare MgO from MgOH twice. And magnesium nitrite on heating will give magnesium oxide plus NO2 plus H2O. Oh, H2O, no, O2. Magnesium carbonate on heating also gives magnesium oxide plus what else? Carbon dioxide. So on a whole, these are the few methods of preparations. Talking about properties, it's a light infusible, it's very difficult to fuse, infusible white powder. We cannot make the fused form. We can make the fused form only at somewhere at 2800 degrees Celsius. It can be fused. It is fused. Then it is, if you talk about solubility, it is sparingly soluble in water. What about its nature, acidic or basic? What do you expect? Magnesium oxide, very famous, it is basic in nature. So when I say basic in nature, on reacting with acids and what should be formed, you must be knowing salt plus water. So other one is, it is reduced by carbon at very high temperature. MgO plus, just now we have seen earlier, when treated with carbon, very high temperature, like call it 1500 degrees Celsius, we get our magnesium plus carbon monoxide. Fine. And magnesium oxide when treated with magnesium chloride, saturated solution of magnesium chloride. What do you mean by saturated solution? No more magnesium chloride can be dissolved in water. That solution, when we take magnesium chloride, okay, you take a glass of water, put as much as magnesium chloride in it, and magnesium chloride will not be precipitated. It forms a true solution, and that is a saturated solution. That saturated solution, when we treat with magnesium oxide in the presence of water, it will form MgCl2 dot 5 magnesium oxide water molecules depending upon the hardness. This is a very hard mass. In fact, it is called as magnesia cement. Magnesia cement. The other name for this is sorrel cement. Sorrel cement. Fine. So it is like very hard mass is formed because of reaction with magnesium oxide with saturated solution of magnesium chloride. Just like a cement, hard mass of cement, it is also forming a very hard mass. Then uses, it is used as antacid. It is used as, or it is used in refractory material in furnace. Then it is also used as insulators in boilers and steam pipes. Because of its very much thermally very high stable, or you can see like its temperature somewhere 1500 degrees Celsius, no, so only that temperature it is able to get rid of this oxygen. So in other words, it has very much ability to hold the temperature. So that's the reason it is used in the furnace as well as insulators in the boilers and steam pipes, and it is also used as an adsorbent, and it is used in making rubber. There is something called as vulcanization of rubber. In the last chapter we'll talk about this. So on a whole, these are some uses of magnesium oxide. So with this we stop today. In the next class I'll talk about some more compounds of magnesium. Okay, so as usual, revise the things, keep revising the things, take the notes properly and write the reactions, and again. Only when you rewrite the reactions you will be confident. Okay, stay home, stay safe.